Secondhand embarrassment is a very real phenomenon. It occurs when you witness something that is so grossly turbo cringe that your body has a fight or flight response and fills you with shame from just having watched it, even though you weren't directly involved in the situation. I think the number one cause of secondhand embarrassment is bad stand-up comedy. So, like, what's the deal with airline food? Salt shakers, you fill them up, and then where does it all go? Like, when a stand-up set bombs, I feel like most people get embarrassed for the person up there. But today, I got so much secondhand embarrassment, I feel like I got a year's worth of shame in one afternoon, thanks to the TikTok congressional hearing that happened. This was an absolute mockery of the entire country. It was absolutely foul. It was painful to watch. So I'd like to show you just a few of the clips. The whole thing was about 5.5 hours long, and I can't imagine anyone can make it to the end without puking. It's brutal. It has everything you're probably imagining, tech illiteracy and horrible questions out the wazoo, all wrapped up into one 5-hour endurance test of the human patience. In a nutshell, there's been a lot of controversy about TikTok and TikTok bans, like banning on government phones, which I do agree with. I don't think there's any argument to be made that a fucking government or someone in power person should have TikTok on their phone just because of potential security risks associated with it. And this has expanded into a lot of other big debates around it. I am not a personal fan of the platform in general. I don't really use it that often. Plus, I think it's been extremely detrimental to the actual mental health and attention span of human beings. Because now, I don't know if you go on TikTok often, if you go on TikTok and it's someone just talking about something or a clip of something, there is always Subway Surfers, Rocket League, or GTA playing underneath it in order to keep your attention. Because people need such constant stimulation and jingling keys. If there's not like 3 separate videos of like bars of soap getting cut for satisfying videos, or Rocket League freestyling, while the core video itself is playing, they click off. That shit is just so pathetic. It's actual brain rot behavior. I am very curious to see, in 10 years, if that's going to be the commonplace for everything in the world. Like if movies now are going to be like playing a movie, but then also underneath it, another separate movie, making sure that your attention is captured. Like, it's so baffling just how far the attention span of humans is degrading, where they can't watch a fucking 30-second video without 3 other videos also playing to keep their attention. But with all of that being said, I still don't want to see it nationally banned or any shit like that. And the reason's very simple. Because I like a world where people have the freedom to choose what they do with their whole life, pretty much. So if you want to download TikTok, you should. Even in spite of potential security risks to your privacy or whatever, that should entirely be on the individual's choice. Does the entertainment the platform offer outweigh the potential security risks to your data being sold or whatever? That's up to the person to decide. That's my ideal scenario where people have the freedom to make their own fucking choices there when it comes to some shit like this. I've made it clear I'm no fan of TikTok. I am also very confident that there is a huge level of like spyware with TikTok associated with it, more than the CEO lets on. But holy shit, this congressional hearing or whatever has done nothing but make the CEO of TikTok look like a patient saint. Like an actual Zen master to deal with the unhinged lunacy and out-of-touch questions those fucking fossils were throwing his way. It blew my mind. It blew my fucking mind. Her, oh my god, she's so dumb. She kept asking him questions, but instead of letting him answer, she'd just say, yes, yes, yes. And then she pulled up a random shitpost on TikTok like, you see this threat? Oh, fuck me. Yeah, so she pulled this up and she's like, look at this. Outrageous. It's not a viral post or anything, by the way.
That video was posted 41 days ago. As you can see, it is captioned me as F.
Dude who asked about TikTok using Wi-Fi? I don't remember, but I think they were trying to make a bigger point. And this is really giving a very charitable bone to the person who asked the question. I think what they were getting at with asking about Wi-Fi is he was trying to state that if one device is connected to a network, it can access everything on that network, which it can, but he couldn't ask the question because I don't think he really fully understood it. But again, I'm doing a very charitable service trying to even make some sense out of that awful question. This accomplished nothing except making their CEO look better. Full-heartedly believe there is a lot more fishy shit at play on the back end of TikTok, but they did not even get close to the bottom of it because they couldn't even wrap their head around what an app on your phone is. It's tragic.
Mr. Zhang Fuping is the editor-in-chief.
He's not.
My colleague, Representative
Just doesn't even let him say it or talk.
2 minutes ago exposed that TikTok and ByteDance share legal teams. You confirmed this, correct?
Our general counsel is an American lawyer, veteran of Microsoft.
Also, my colleague, Representative Latta, confirmed that your parent
fucking
company,
worthless.
ByteDance, currently can access user data. Yes?
We have to be more specific.
Yes.
After Project Texas, no.
I'm not asking after Project Texas, I'm asking now. Yes.
Some user data is public data, Congresswoman, which means everybody can search.
What's interesting to me is that you have used the word transparency over a half a dozen times.
So, doesn't seem to understand that when you ask a question, you should wait for an answer instead of filling your own blanks here. So, her asking about the data that they're accessing, he talks about the public data, which is something every app in the world accesses, even that computer she's on right there. I bet she's logged in on Twitter. That uses all of your fucking data too. I bet she has a Facebook account. That not only accesses all of your data, it sells it too. All of these apps do that. What they needed to get to the bottom of is more in line with, like, what is TikTok specifically doing with that data and how it relates to, like, the CCP and shit like that. But instead, they're so hung up on, like, public data. You're accessing public profiles. That's creepy. That's something one of the guys said. It's so fucking crazy. And for some reason, they don't even let him answer, so they get no answers. They get nothing out of this. It is fucking worthless. It is a complete waste of time. They said they were watching children's public profiles, which was creepy. Everything's watching every public profile ever. That's the whole point of it being public. It gets scanned in these systems. That's not exclusive to TikTok. Twitter does it. Facebook does it. YouTube does it. Everything does it. Literally everything. We threw away our privacy long, long ago. TikTok is just a little more nefarious, potentially, with what it uses that data for, at least based on, like, reports from a year or two ago. Not meant to be informational or useful, it's meant to grandstand for campaigns. It's actually tame compared to everything else, and, well, I guess maybe. It's still so stupid, though, because this doesn't do anything to further anyone's agenda here. Everyone that asked him questions today looks like a bumbling fucking buffoon. A genuine moron. Like, I feel like all this does is shake people's confidence in their elected representatives here. They couldn't they couldn't ask a good question. Were they like this with Mark Zuckerberg? Yes! Yes, they were. It was just as bad with Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg sat in the same hot seat as this guy did, and he got bombarded with just as stupid questions. If I remember correctly, one of the Facebook questions was, do I need internet to connect to Facebook? Or something like that. We are not getting anything out of this garbage. What do you think their approach should be on this topic? Hand it off to people that understand it. Clearly, this woman doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. At all. She has no clue what's going on right there. And she clearly doesn't even want to get answers because she's too busy answering herself. So get someone who gets it, have them ask the questions, and come up with the questions to begin with. Delegate. This is clearly not her strong suit. She's not even old! That you can't just keep using the excuse of they're all fucking geriatric. She is not old. She is willfully stupid. And still tries to act like an authority on the topic. She pulled up a fucking 400 view shitpost to try and use it as a point that completely fell flat. And then doesn't even let the guy answer her questions because she's too busy answering herself. Now, while she may have come to this hootenanny unprepared and made me ashamed to be a Floridian, she did mention something that I think is important to talk about briefly, which is Project Texas. Project Texas is something TikTok did to appease the US. In a quick nutshell, Project Texas is US user data being sent to Oracle, which is on American soil, as opposed to going anywhere else. So all of the US user data will now be on American soil, and Oracle kind of oversees the whole thing.
On a device in one pocket, but downloaded on your device in the other doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I believe Congress and DoD should address the continued use of TikTok on military installations as well as any use that depicts U.S. military operations. Mr. Chu, does TikTok access the home Wi-Fi network?
Only if the user turns on the Wi-Fi. I'm sorry, I may not understand the...
So if I have a TikTok app...
Again, this is being very charitable. I think the point he was trying to make is, when it accesses the Wi-Fi, it has access to all of your devices that are within that network, which every device that accesses your Wi-Fi does. That is factual, that is true. Which is actually something that happened to Kaya. He downloaded a burglar broke in and downloaded a torrent, and it came with a virus, which infected multiple devices that were on his network. It is known that when you are on a Wi-Fi network, it connects to more than just the single thing that's connected to it. It's everything there. So I think his point was, can it access my other devices? Which is why he's talking about, like, downloading on a device next to me. Shit like that. But the way he asked that question is so bafflingly stupid that even the TikTok CEO is like, fucking obviously, it's gonna access your Wi-Fi if you turn it on, right? Like, it's just craziness. So have someone who understands what the fuck they're talking about be the one to ask these questions. I think you gave him too much credit. He probably thinks Wi-Fi is a radio. Again, it's a very charitable interpretation of what I think he could have been trying to say. I could be way off and giving way too much credit there. I don't know. For the sake of clarity, I actually think that guy's follow-up question kind of hints more at what I was saying. Even though it's still poorly asked and his follow-up question is still poorly phrased, I do think with a high level of confidence the thing he was trying to get at is TikTok going to be accessing all kinds of things on my network outside of just the one device that I'm using right now to connect to it? I think is what he really wanted to get at, but he didn't know how to get to that topic effectively. So he ended up making a very silly question out of the whole thing, which really sums up the entire hearing. Just silly questions that didn't do anything at all. They didn't get any answers. They didn't get to the bottom of any real questions people have. It was just a genuine fucking circus. Just an absolute clown show. That's really about it. See ya. Most of you know me from my sensational performance in the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1, where I played unnamed, uncredited District 8 helper, who overshadowed Jennifer Lawrence's performance and struck fear into the hearts of the Academy Award panel. I was snubbed that year, and I try not to bring this up too often, but it's no secret either. I pretty much have to sign autographs and sign titties every time I go out in public and just get mobbed by fans of the Hunger Games series, all thanking me for my contribution to making that franchise work. Without my character in the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1, Jennifer Lawrence's career would have absolutely ended up in the shitter. She used me as a platform to springboard and accelerate her success. She fucking Goomba stomped me like Super Mario. She just bounced off of my head to reach new heights. And I'm not mad about it. Look, I understand. I taught Jennifer Lawrence pretty much everything she learned. That's why you saw a significant increase in her acting ability post-Mockingjay Part 1. She copied my techniques. But that's beside the point. The reason I'm bringing this up is because that's where most of you know me from. And I recognize that. But, as of the last 2 weeks, I think, a lot of people are recognizing me for something entirely different. TikTok. I have inadvertently become a viral sensation on TikTok for an old Twitch clip. And I'd like to just kind of talk about this because it's pretty fucking wild. Most of you know I went to the dark side recently and made a TikTok account. It's called Huge Charles here. It's run by a buddy of mine named Aaron. He just takes clips from videos and puts them up there, just short little things. And it's fun, but I don't really interact with the platform until I learned that I was like one of the #1 sounds on it for about a week. And it's for this clip right here. Kill him, I'll give you money. How much? What's the bounty on me team killing this guy and looking at his reaction? $5? Too low. This is a special gamer right here.
Come on, guys, we gotta go.
What is it? 200k GP. We're talking in GP, I'm on it.
Stop fucking shooting me! What the fuck is wrong with you? Chill!
It was a misinput, calm down! You calm the fuck down!
Oh,
there was a misinput!
Oh my fucking god.
God, this community is overreacting. This, of course, came from the best Twitch streamer of all time, Moist Critical. Please feel free to stop by. In fact, you should. It's mandatory. This was one of the first clips I ever had on Twitch. This was within the first month of me streaming. This was back in 2018. In this game, I was playing Siege. I think it was a casual match, and the guy that the person put the bounty on to kill was an asshole. He was being really rude and getting, like, super loud. So some guy in the chat said he'd give me money to kill him. Little did he know I would have done it just for the fun of the sport. So this guy fucking squeezed this guy for some shit here. And, of course, I followed through on the team kill. You can see that the guy wasn't too happy about it. But after I disciplined him like a stern father, gave him a talking to, he calmed down. He settled down a little bit. Now, this soundbite has gone viral on TikTok under the sound name Miss Input, which makes it sound like a AFI song like Miss Murder. They make it sound like someone's name, Miss Input. It's pretty cute, something out of Clue it sounds like, and it's adorable, to be honest. I find it to be very adorable. There's over 3,300 videos using this sound clip, and I only just recently learned what that meant. On TikTok, there's like sounds where if you like trim something and use it, anyone else can use that sound as well, and then it becomes like a trend potentially, which is what they do with music, which is why music blows up so big there. And this was one of the chosen ones for about 2 weeks, or like the number one for a week or something. I don't know how to check the goddamn charts on TikTok if there is such a thing, but I got emails about it. I checked in on it, and it's gone up by like 200 videos every couple of hours, so it's been pretty wild. Let me show you what one of these videos looks like.
Chill!
It was a misinput. Misinput! Calm down! You calm the fuck down!
Oh,
There was a misinput!
oh my fucking... Chill!
It was a misinput. Calm down! You calm the fuck down!
Oh, bro.
There was a misinput! You get the idea. It's always the same exact video where I was trying to send this message but accidentally sent a sexual one where I want to fuck someone's ass or something like that. Or in the more tame world, I was doing homework and accidentally put the wrong answer. Classic TikTok shit. Now, since this is my sound clip, I will be copyright striking every single TikTok user that dared have the gall to use my content. I'm gonna be the fucking boogeyman of TikTok. That's right. I'm going right into your mother's purse and I'm taking money out of her wallet for your audacity to use my shit. I'm gonna be like a gluttonous Winnie the Pooh and I'm just trying to get my piece of the honey. You feel me? I'm coming in raw and no rubber. TikTok has used me like a fleshlight. I wasn't even credited with the sound, and now I'm coming in deep. Obviously, I'm just kidding. I actually find this super fucking cool. I never would have thought any, like, clip of mine would be some kind of TikTok trend. Not that I really understand TikTok all that well, but I just don't even know what it would fucking look like. Even to me, this makes no sense at all, but I'm still happy about it. I think it's really, I think it's something special. This is the only good TikTok trend, the misinput trend, the only one I'll ever sign off on. All the other ones suck some fat ass. But this is for the intellectual chads right here. This is the good shit. I just wanted to briefly talk about it because for the last couple of years I've had nothing but negative things to say about TikTok, and I still have almost nothing but negative things to say about the majority of the popular TikTok content. But today I have nothing but positive things to say about the misinput TikTok trend. Absolutely fantastic stuff. And I'm honored. That's about it. See ya.
My husband and I have removed the bottoms of all of our shoes.
Has the world gone mad? Jumpin' Jehooshaphats, cutting the bottoms of your shoes off so you can walk around in the city streets barefoot and into businesses barefoot is absolute insanity. But that's TikTok for you, baby.
We decided to start walking barefoot and one of our followers had a great idea. Since some businesses don't want us being completely barefoot, if we cut off the bottom of our shoes, it'll allow us to be barefoot but blend in with everyone else.
It's the perfect plan, the masters of disguise. Hats off to that follower there, shoes off to that follower there who suggested this fucking stinker of an idea. The barefoot Batman giving them a symbol of hope here. Why not just cut the bottoms of your shoes off so you can walk around barefoot all the time? I bet they said it as a joke because it's the most outlandish suggestion they could think of, and these goobers bought into it hook, line, and sinker. No one will ever know that you're actually barefoot underneath the skeleton of your shoes. So put that in your pipe and smoke it, big business. Also, it's really comical to me that the husband is wearing socks in the house. So they walk around the city streets barefoot, but draw the line at walking around their own home barefoot. What, is your house dirtier than the fucking city streets? You don't trust your own house floors, but you trust the city streets that are covered in poop and all kinds of other bodily fluids and chemicals and yuckiness? But you get the heebie-jeebies thinking about walking around your own home barefoot. Ooh, I would never walk around here without protection on. I'm double layering my socks today, actually. Do you not clean your own floors or something? It makes no sense to me. That's so weird that they'll wear socks in their house, but not in public. They're just full-blown barefoot, letting it be raw.
This is a huge commitment, but we were willing to make it. These are our favorite shoes. Our shoe collection is worth more than $20,000. But this is a sacrifice we're willing to take because walking barefoot means the world to us.
Rest in peace, 20,000 bones. That's a lot of money to just flush down the shitter just to be able to secretly walk around barefoot. Far be it for me to question what people are passionate about, but why this? You know, I'm a bit of a daredevil myself, a bit of a rebel. I like to walk around barefoot in the comfort of my own fucking home, where it makes sense to get my little hobbit stompers out and just roam around here. Why sacrifice 20 grand just to do it in secrecy? Like, you can't just wear shoes for a little bit. You have to be barefoot all the time. It's almost like a fetish at that point, it feels like. They can't help themselves. It's so weird to me because it's a dangerous thing to do. I remember back in college when my campus would do like shoe drives where we donate shoes. My roommates and I did it once, and we walked back barefoot, and my buddy cut his foot on a piece of broken glass and just gashed that shit open. Now, amplify that danger times 20x because you're just walking around the city streets barefoot. It just doesn't make sense. Plus, you're risking, of course, like disease, infection, and shit. Like, probably get like fucking hookworm and COVID, and those two mash together and form like COVID turbo strain or some shit. I don't know. It just doesn't compute. You can't just wear shoes for a little while. You have to just ruin 20 grand worth of shoes to be barefoot secretly because businesses don't want you barefoot inside there, which is a totally reasonable thing to not want because it's gross.
The benefits of walking barefoot are priceless, so now our shoes are worth more than money could ever be. So today we got to work and started removing the bottoms.
The benefits of walking around barefoot, huh? That had me scratching at my chinny chin chin, so I did a little research. There are some stated benefits of walking around barefoot. On grass, in nature, where again, that makes sense. Not dirty-ass city streets that are covered in poop and in fucking grime and grease and filth. Or on, like, the floors of businesses, which again are going to be covered in all kinds of shit. The benefits of walking around barefoot are minimal at best, but there are some, and it's all in nature. Like, in the forest, on the beach, like, literally anywhere besides just contaminated city streets. This is just vile and disgusting. I bet if you brought out a Geiger counter and held it to this couple, that shit would blast off the charts. They're gonna need Radaway or something after a single trip to the grocery store while barefoot in these incognito boots.
We weren't sure if this was going to be easy or hard, and it ended up being pretty easy. We made little shelves where our toes are and our heels are. We made a little lip on the bottom of the shoe where our toenails will go so they can latch on, so we'll actually be able to hold on to the shoe while trying to walk without the bottom. And we did the same thing for our heels. The experience of cutting off the bottoms of our shoes was very freeing and detoxifying, just like walking barefoot is.
The word detoxify has completely lost all meaning. It's just a useless buzzword now. It's truly baffling how far we've fallen, but that's the beauty of brain rot. Yes, I start every morning with a dirt and urine smoothie while walking around barefoot to improve my connection to the earth and realign my chakras to detoxify my body. Absolute lunacy. You're not detoxifying anything by walking around dirty-ass city streets barefoot. You are actively toxifying yourself. If anything, there's all kinds of sewage and shit that spills onto the pavement that you're now just barefoot raw dogging. And even outside of that, you could step on like a small piece of metal or something, give yourself tetanus. Like, there's so much risk associated with this and no benefit whatsoever. What do you get? The ability to wiggle your toes a little bit in the open air on the pavement? Yippee! It's just so stupid, and they're trying to preach about it like it's a good thing, and this is supposed to be a tutorial for other barefoot enthusiasts. So that way you can go incognito while barefoot in businesses and on the city streets. Who would want that? Why?
So after we cut the bottoms off, we decided to try it out. So we went to our favorite store, Sephora, and as you know, they don't really like us in here without shoes. I needed to grab a few things for a trip we're going on. The experience was absolutely perfect.
I love the dichotomy between we walk around barefoot because it's good to detoxify and it's freeing and whatever, and then going right into Sephora, which has more chemicals than the goddamn plant Homer Simpson works at. Of course, I have no problem with Sephora whatsoever, but I just really would have thought a couple like this that's so desperate to be barefoot that they'll destroy a $20,000 shoe collection just to cut out the soles so they can be barefoot on the grossest surfaces possible would be really apprehensive about going to a store like Sephora, which has like a lot of really unnatural ingredients in a lot of their products. So it was just weird to me. And it starts to make me wonder if this is all just performative. Like, I feel as though there's a chance they don't actually walk around barefoot ever, and this was just for the sake of being quirky and unique on TikTok. And that's also helped by the fact that the dude was wearing socks in his house. If they really loved their bare tootsies out all the time, I bet he probably wouldn't even fucking own socks, let alone wear them in his own house. So I'm starting to think that they're just lying here and this is all just fake, but I'm not entirely sure. Either way, though, it's fucking gross.
The workers came up to us, they talked to us, they even complimented our shoes. I definitely recommend this if you're trying to go incognito barefoot. It's the perfect way to get all the benefits of going barefoot, but also have no one know.
It's also the perfect way to contract the disease if you're looking for a speedrun percentage, because I'm guaranteeing you're going to pick something up along the way here for this journey. What a great tutorial and what a wonderful lesson. I also love how effective this is. Just look at how top secret this is. As her entire foot pokes out the side of this destroyed shoe casing. The corpse of that shoe is just hanging on by a thread here, as her whole foot is exposed. I'm sure nobody knew. I'm sure they were completely in the dark. Of course, the workers, I would imagine, probably saw this, especially because the sound their feet would be making, slapping against the floor. Like, that's not the sound shoes make. I have no doubt they knew, but they probably just didn't want to deal with the headache of confronting people like this about it. Like, hey, excuse me, why are your dogs out underneath these shoes? We really would prefer if you came back later with shoes on. Can you please leave the store? They probably just didn't want to get into any kind of argument with people like this, so they just let it slide and were praying that they'd be in and out quickly for their stupid TikTok video. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about this a little bit because it was a wacky little thing that popped off on Twitter today. That's about it. So yeah. There's two things you would never confuse me as. A tall person and a fan of TikTok. I've made it pretty clear over the years that I think TikTok has been largely detrimental to the development of the younger generation, as well as just overall a negative effect on people as a whole. In particular, the attention span of people. I really think that this is going to be something that'll be studied for decades to come. When we reach a point where human beings can't sit down for more than 30 seconds without squirming in their chair if they're not blasted with, you know, finger family jingles and just perpetual stimulation from GTA gameplay and Subway Surfers. Like, I do think it has had a noticeably awful effect on people's brains. However, there is something I love. Freedom. I love it more than Garfield loves lasagna. My blood runs red. My belly's filled with cheeseburgers and brewskis. When I have a birthday party, I ask the attendees to sing the Pledge of Allegiance instead of the Happy Birthday song. If I wasn't a human, I'd be an eagle. That's how much I love freedom. God damn it. God bless. So, I think it's a beautiful thing that we have the freedom to download TikTok and subject ourselves to that fucking mind rot. And this is something that I've covered for a few years now because this is like a boogeyman that keeps rearing its head occasionally, like some kind of cameo in every season of the United States with the whole TikTok ban. That's been a proposal for years now, but recently it's been gaining a lot of steam, and today the president has signed a bill that will force a sale of TikTok, and if they don't divest after 9 months, they will be fundamentally banned. So TikTok is a very shady app, and there's been a lot of shadiness that's been reported in it for years, and it's even been deemed a national security threat due to the potential of China using it to collect data on Americans. This is something I'm sure all of you know. This isn't some kind of surprising plot twist here for all of you. And I'm sure all of you also know that there's no such thing as privacy anymore. Every single one of you watching this right now is actively having your data harvested and sold. But typically, your data is being sold by American companies. This is pretty rare in that it's a Chinese app that gained mainstream adoption by Americans, thus they are the ones that are getting the data as opposed to American companies. And the government's not super happy about that. So if TikTok is not divested within 9 months to an approved buyer, then it's going kaput. It's going to vanish like that. It's going to be banned. TikTok CEO has even made a video going over all of this to its users, and it seems like they're going to be fighting tooth and nail here to push back against this. They believe it is unconstitutional. Before showing you the video, I'll read their statement. This unconstitutional law is a TikTok ban, and we will challenge it in court. We believe the facts and the law are clearly on our side, and we will ultimately prevail. The fact is, we have invested billions of dollars to keep US data safe and our platform free from outside influence and manipulation. This ban would devastate 7 million businesses and silence 170 million Americans. As we continue to challenge this unconstitutional ban, we will continue investing and innovating to ensure TikTok remains a space where Americans of all walks of life can safely come to share their experiences, find joy, and be inspired. Now, over the years of this TikTok tug-of-war that we've been seeing in the headlines about will it be banned, will it not be banned, I've kind of flip-flopped on my opinion of that. I negatively view TikTok. I don't have a good impression of it because I think the good on it, which undeniably there is good things that have come from TikTok, by giving everyone a voice, there is moments where it's able to highlight very important problems that are going on, and there are good content creators on there that are providing high quality entertainment and educational entertainment at some points on TikTok. It's also been huge for businesses, like just normal mom and pop businesses like that have been utilizing TikTok as a way of growing and flourishing. It's been super helpful to a lot of businesses. However, I feel like all of this is outweighed by the overall culture that TikTok has kind of fostered, where the most popular content is the ones that have Subway Surfers gameplay with cutting soap videos plastered on there because they know that the audience can no longer focus on just one video anymore. It needs to be constant stimulation and jingling keys to keep them there because it has damaged people's ability to focus. And also, a lot of the content that blows up on TikTok is the content that is just literally wrong, like fake garbage that serves just to fearmonger. Like, for instance, the easiest example, the solar eclipse. There were thousands of videos about the solar eclipse about to open up a demon portal because CERN's working behind the scenes during the solar eclipse, or like the red heifer's been sacrificed so the Antichrist is being summoning during the solar eclipse. All kinds of mumbo jumbo that serves just to keep the audience on TikTok scared and stupid, so that way they're constantly spending money to stop being scared and feeling stupid. So it's all very, like, there's some evil shit on there. It's also very dangerous because there's a lot of things that blow up on there that actually just get people killed, like the blackout challenge, or like the Kia challenge where you're stealing cars. I could go on and on shaking my fist like the angry old man on the lawn, but I don't need to because all of you, I think, know that. But even with all that being said, I still overall feel that it's important that people have the ability to make choices for themselves, and if they choose to download TikTok, they should have the ability to do so. I don't like the government being the one to decide what you can and cannot access in regards to like an app on your phone. Now, in this case, I do recognize that TikTok is significantly shadier than most of the other major companies out there, but still, I think it is a scary precedent if the government is able to just start banning things that they don't like. Obviously, within reason, if it's just purely illegal content and distributing just a bunch of illegal criminal shit, clearly slap that down. That makes sense. But come on, it's a social media app. Like, who's to say there won't be another major platform or service that pops off in the United States that isn't owned by the United States? And who's to say they won't be like, okay, fuck them. We were able to ban TikTok, let's go ahead and ban these guys too. It's not American made, we don't want it here.
Hi everyone, it's Show here. As you may have heard, Congress passed a bill that the president signed into law that is designed to ban TikTok in the United States. That will take TikTok away from you and 170 million Americans who find community and connection on our platform. Make no mistake, this is a ban on TikTok and a ban on you and your voice.
I don't think there's anyone on the planet that's making the mistake and thinking that it's not a ban. There's no smoke and mirrors here, no diversion. They're not mixing any words here to try and confuse you. It is just straight up a ban. Like, they're not hiding that fact. They either sell TikTok to an approved buyer, or they can no longer have TikTok in the United States.
It's actually ironic because the freedom of expression on TikTok reflects the same American values that make the United States a beacon of freedom. TikTok gives everyday Americans a powerful way to be seen and heard, and that's why so many people have made TikTok part of their daily lives. Rest assured, we aren't going anywhere.
I'm not going to play any more of this because it's mainly just a video letting the community know that they are going to be fighting as best they possibly can against this. And also, a lot of it's just talking about how special TikTok is, like it's such a wonderful, joyous place with sunshine and unicorns. Like, you know, it's delightful on TikTok, and we want to preserve that, so that's what we're fighting for. That's not what you're fighting for. You're fighting for TikTok so hard because it's such a massive moneymaker that has a huge adoption in the United States. You don't give a fuck about, like, the actual culture on TikTok. If you did, there'd be significantly less degeneracy on it, I imagine. Like, there is, like I said, even aside from, like, the data stuff and the spying potential, there have been some legitimately shady things going on with TikTok. The reason why they want this so badly to avoid divesting and avoid being banned is because it makes so much money. And they have so many users in the United States that they do not want to lose, and they do not want to give over to a different company, obviously. So yeah, anyway, I guess we'll see if TikTok is banned within the year, and if it is, that's going to be pure fucking pandemonium as people flock to, like, YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels, I suppose. But anyway, that's really about it. So yeah. It's now been over a month since I primarily switched from streaming on Twitch to streaming on YouTube. I spent about 5 or 6 years exclusively in the trenches of Twitch streaming, and now I've recently done a cannonball into the deep end of the pool of the YouTube ecosystem for streams. And I just wanted to debrief on the whole thing because I've been getting asked a lot, not only by chat, but by friends of mine, what the big differences are, what makes one better than the other, which I prefer. And I thought this would be an interesting topic because for a lot of people, Twitch versus YouTube for streaming is a lot like Coke versus Pepsi. They're very similar, but there are subtle differences that make people prefer one over the other. And for streaming, it's obviously Twitch that's the preference. And I just kind of want to go over this whole situation here, let you all take a bite from an apple of my tree of knowledge, and just bestow upon you the sage wisdom that I've been gathering since being on YouTube. Because I am the one that walks between worlds. I'm like fucking John Constantine. So let's just start out with the obvious differences that you'll hear everybody mention. YouTube streaming has no culture to it. It is very bland. It's very vanilla. There's no real identity to YouTube streaming chat culture. And that's not something that you can really teach or artificially integrate into a platform. It's like basketball. You can't teach height. There's certain things you can teach about basketball, but ultimately, there are certain things you can't that'll make you a better basketball player. And for YouTube streaming, that is its chat culture. And let me break down exactly what that means here, because if you don't watch Twitch streams, then what I'm saying right now is a giant nothing burger of mumbo jumbo. Like, what the fuck is chat culture? Well, on Twitch, since it's been around for so long now, the community that watches Twitch streams has grown together and created a very unique identity for itself, where it has this DNA that's shared across every streamer's chat on the platform, with inside jokes or certain emotes that'll be spammed at certain times during the stream. And it doesn't matter who the streamer is, the chat itself is always in on the same general jokes or emotes, and just, it's hard to like actually explain, but if you've ever been on Twitch or streamed on Twitch, you'll know what I mean. There are just certain things in there where instead of just spamming like full conversational texts in a Twitch chat, they'll sum it up with like one line and an emote, you know? There's just so many ways that Twitch chat expresses itself in a way that other platforms don't, and frankly, other platforms just can't. That's not something that you can bring to your platform. It has to happen organically over a long period of time. Twitch has been around for so long, and despite being absolutely massive, the community itself still feels very tight-knit, which makes the streaming and chat experience on Twitch just overall more engaging. On YouTube, it's like Sasquatch. That doesn't exist. And another thing, Twitch does a really good job of making the chats readable. This is a huge thing, actually. Even in the biggest Twitch streams on that platform, you can read the chat because they're smart in that they hold messages for a very small period of time, so that way they come in chunks, which makes it legible. And on YouTube, they don't do that. Ludwig compared it to a sink faucet being turned on, which I think is a beautiful description of it, because it's just this endless flood of gobbledygook. Like, you can't read anything on a YouTube streamer's chat that's popping off because they don't hold anything. It's just real-time blasting you with information, and if you try to read it, your brain is going to blue screen. It's incomprehensible because they don't hold it, which makes it detrimental to the health of a stream and a stream's community, because if you can't engage with your community, they're often not going to stick around. This one actually has a super simple solution I am shocked they haven't implemented yet. Just put the rectangle in the rectangle-shaped hole here. Just hold the messages for a second. Just let them marinate for a second before sending them out, so that way it's not just this endless Star Wars scrolling text of things that nobody can read. Now, I know Ludwig also has an extension called Truffle, which aims to make the chat experience on YouTube more in line with the chat experience on Twitch, and it works pretty well. It is a band-aid to a bit of a boo-boo that YouTube still hasn't, cleaned out properly and fixed, but it does help. So I know there are tools, there are options here, but I feel like YouTube could definitely work on the simple things like the messages. The only thing that it can't really do here is create a chat culture. That's something that's just going to have to happen organically. YouTube can just provide tools and provide a better chat experience from a functionality standpoint. Now, there's two other big differences. The one that everyone's going to mention is discoverability, and I do think that's still correct. Now that I've been on YouTube for a month, I can say with confidence, nobody is finding your stream unless they are already on your channel. There's no way to find streams on YouTube effectively. If you browse the godforsaken wasteland that is the YouTube streaming tab, looking for any kind of interesting stream will be a daunting task. Like, you'd have an easier time having a threesome within the next 10 minutes than you would finding a single interesting stream that you might enjoy. The only way you find streams on YouTube is if you already watch the person that's streaming it. It is extremely difficult to find anything that's of interest to you. And trust me, I've done a lot of exploring here. That needs to be improved. On Twitch, I do think discoverability has suffered over the last few years, but that's just because of the oversaturation of streams in general. But on Twitch, it's far easier to find what you want. You go to the category of the game that sounds appealing, you'll look at the titles, like, oh, this one sounds interesting, fingering butthole for $20. I'll take a peek, is he actually going into the chocolate starfish here for donations? I mean, what's going on here? So then you click on it, and it's a channel you've never seen before, and you maybe give them a chance, and maybe you end up liking the stream. On YouTube, that's not going to happen. You just don't have that happen. It currently just feels like streaming is a bit of an afterthought here. There are some problems that I think could be addressed and could be fixed pretty quickly, and this is one of them. It's been in a pretty bad state for discoverability since its inception. It really feels like it's a secret. Like, YouTube is keeping streaming a hush-hush whisper, like just a secret functionality. I think there's a large number of people that don't even know YouTube streams exist. I really think that. Because again, the only way new faces can even find a stream is if it somehow gets recommended to them. And in that case, it's just a gamble. You just have to hope that for some reason you made it into their algorithm and then they saw that you were streaming and maybe wanted to give it a try. But other than that, you're not really going to be seen by people that don't already know of your existence. So as a new streamer just starting out, YouTube is absolutely not the platform for you, I don't think. You'd be streaming to a fucking graveyard. Now, there's one other thing I think Twitch does significantly better than YouTube, and then I want to get into what I think YouTube does better than Twitch. But on Twitch, subscribers is done much better. When you subscribe on Twitch, you all know what it means. It means you're giving money to a streamer. Twitch has something called Prime, where you can get a free sub to a streamer a month, and they get $5, and it costs you nothing. It's an unbeatable service, and something YouTube legitimately can't match unless it wants to start offering an equivalent for YouTube Premium members. So like, if you have YouTube Premium, then you get one free membership to a YouTube streamer per month, so it'd be the same thing as Twitch Prime, but on YouTube. I don't see them doing that because it is such a massive net loss of money for the company. Twitch continues to offer Primes, but they're not doing it with a smile on their face. They're doing that with a big old frown. Like the fucking fattest frown of all time. They're praying that you don't remember to use it, because when you use it, it just costs them money, and they get nothing in return for it, other than just offering a legitimately unbeatable service, and it's good for the streamers, and it keeps a lot of streamers sticking around, because the Primes, I mean, that's a tough thing to beat. So YouTube doesn't have that, but another thing YouTube doesn't have is an identity to its memberships. When you hear subscribe on Twitch, you immediately know what it is. When you hear membership on YouTube, you're left scratching your head going, what are you talking about? Because even when you're looking at the stream, there's no membership button. But then when you're actually watching the stream, you'll notice there's no such thing as the membership button. It's a goddamn lie. What you need to locate is the join button, which in and of itself is kind of in a suboptimal location. It's right next to the subscribe button there, and on mobile, good luck finding that. It's a game of Where's Waldo. But then you click the join button, and then you become a member. But why call it join? That's very confusing. That's super convoluted. Like, if I didn't know what that button did, I would never touch it. I'd avoid it like the plague. Because what are you joining? You joining a Discord channel? You joining the anime club? Like, what are you joining? Joining a newsletter? Joining a community tab for the channel? Like, it doesn't tell you what it actually is. It should just be called membership or something. Like, it should show you exactly what it is. Because right now, it's a mystery game of what join does, and nobody plays the game. No one's clicking that button. Now, those are like the major differences that I think Twitch does better than YouTube, but I want to talk about some of the things I think YouTube does better than Twitch, because there are a few. The biggest one for me, and I think it is an incredible quality of life change to streaming that I think is a great thing for viewers, it's the ability to rewind a stream. So, on any YouTube stream you go to, you can go back. You can go back and see what you've missed and catch up that way, or just watch like parts of something if you missed a little component of it. You can go back in a stream, which is fantastic. And it's also good for streamers because then new viewers that come in while you're streaming won't inundate you with questions you've already answered, or won't inundate you with questions about something that you've already done earlier in the stream if they can just rewind it and check before they ask. I am a big fan of the ability to rewind streams, and another thing I'm a huge fan of on YouTube, as opposed to Twitch, is the bitrate. YouTube allows you to stream at a much higher bitrate than Twitch. I can't believe Twitch is still currently limited to the bitrate that it's at. YouTube doesn't have that problem, so streams generally are looking better on YouTube. That one's super simple. It's just on the technical side of things, YouTube streams look better. I also do think that it runs better on mobile. Twitch mobile to me has been an absolute fucking joke of a service for a long time. YouTube mobile works really well, and that includes watching streams, at least from the few times I've watched streams on my phone over the last month or so. It has been a very smooth experience. I haven't had any problems, whereas on Twitch, anytime I fire up the app to watch on mobile, I had an issue with something. So YouTube is definitely a little better on that front than Twitch. And another thing that I think is really much better on YouTube than Twitch is VODs. VODs, they exist on Twitch, yeah, but no one really checks VODs. In fact, most people that watch a streamer on Twitch will end up watching their VOD or clips from it on YouTube. So YouTube is just a place to go for on-demand content, and that extends to streams as well, because once you're done streaming, it goes to your channel in the live tab. And it's also monetized a lot better than on Twitch when it comes to the VOD content, so if you do ads during your stream, there's more value, you get more out of that than you do on Twitch, and that extends to the VODs, where your VODs are automatically monetized with ads and certain breaks during it. So you get a lot more revenue-wise from your on-demand content on YouTube versus Twitch. But again, that only applies if you've already established yourself on YouTube, or like TikTok and push to YouTube. You've already got an audience on YouTube. That only applies in that case. If you're just starting, this means nothing. Like, because this is just a bunch of fish paste. You won't be found easily as a YouTube streamer. Thus, your VOD monetization isn't going to matter at all. Also, one more thing, this one's not a big deal, but it is kind of cool and a little silly. You get to choose your own thumbnail for your YouTube streams, whereas on Twitch, it's just random moments from the stream. In fact, I had one time when playing through Cyberpunk that my cock slider, like when I was playing around with his penis to change the size of it, was my thumbnail for a while. And it's not like you have any say in that, it's just Twitch generating those thumbnails for your stream. YouTube, you have full control over it. I haven't really been utilizing it to its full potential. I've just been getting like really up close to the camera and making like a face or just staring blankly at it, which kind of is like a jump scare when the notifications go out. But yeah, the ability to make your own thumbnail for YouTube streams I think is actually a pretty good thing. I think it's cool. But it also brings me to another problem. I just mentioned notifications when my stream goes live. That's not commonplace. Notifications aren't exactly the norm for YouTube streams. Very few people get them. I was actually talking to Danny about it like 2 weeks ago. Danny has no idea when I go live, and he's subscribed with the bell and all of that shit, but still, that notification doesn't really get sent out. Whereas on Twitch, you know what you're there for. You're there for streams. So you'll get notification for streams. YouTube, you're not really there for streams. Nobody's really there for streams. They're there for the VODs, their video content. So when a stream notification is supposed to go out, a lot of people either won't get it, A, or B, don't really know like what the fuck is going on because it's a kind of long notification. It's the red icon, channel name, stream now, and then title, and then thumbnail. So it's kind of a lot, and a lot of people will immediately disregard it. So it's hard to let people know, even if you already have an audience on YouTube, when you're actually live. It makes it difficult to find the live streams for a lot of people, which is a complaint I've heard not only from Danny in real life, but from quite a few people who do tune into the streams from time to time because they just genuinely don't know when they go live. Whereas on Twitch, that's never really a problem because everyone knows when you're live when the notification goes out. So another thing I just wanted to briefly mention here at the end. But anyway, let's get to the conclusion now. If you're someone that's just starting streaming and wants to grow as a streamer, Twitch is 100% the platform for you, no doubt. But if you are someone that already has an established YouTube audience that wants to just dabble in streaming occasionally, it's certainly a viable option, for sure. I will say that I think Ludwig was also right about something else where he said YouTube as a streaming platform is one that's best served with intermittent streams as opposed to daily. Whereas on Twitch, the most important thing you can do is just be alive. As a Twitch streamer, you find the most success through consistency. Just being there is enough to, over time, grow or maintain an audience because a lot of people go to Twitch just for comfort, background noise or something. So as long as you're there for that, you'll find success through just consistency. YouTube is kind of the opposite. No one's going to YouTube streams for the comfort or anything. They're going there for the novelty of it right now because, again, it's not why you go to YouTube. So if you see a stream and you're like, oh, this sounds interesting, then you check it out for a little bit and you need to capture those viewers' attention. And usually if you're just doing daily streams, you're not coming up with innovative new creative ideas for every stream. So there's a good chance someone tunes in and they're not interested in the game or whatever you're doing, so they just leave. So Twitch is really good for daily streams. YouTube, you'll probably find more success if every stream is a, like, unique one. A big thing to think about when streaming on YouTube is, does this stream work well as a VOD? And if the answer to that is yes, then YouTube is a really good streaming platform because you can stream it live, you can engage with the community live, and then it lives on as a VOD, which is very monetized effectively, and can enter the YouTube video algorithm so you can get new eyes on the video content itself, assuming, of course, it gets picked up and it's like a good VOD. Twitch, that doesn't happen. Once the stream is done, very few people are going to look for the VOD on Twitch. They'll look for it on YouTube first. So all in all, my impression on like the big picture thing is anything that works really well as a live stream is going to perform better on Twitch than YouTube, most likely, because more people outside of just your core audience can find that content on Twitch while it's live. But once that live stream is over, that VOD content will work much better on YouTube than it will on Twitch because, again, no one's really watching VODs on Twitch that often. Most of the time, it's getting eyes on YouTube, and YouTube itself can pick it up, and they do monetize it in a much better way than Twitch does. So that's kind of like the overall impression of everything I've had so far on both streaming platforms. Again, I've only been streaming on YouTube consistently for like the last month and a half, whereas I spent 5 years on Twitch. So maybe my impression of YouTube will change over the next few months or the next year or so. We'll see. But I just wanted to report on all of this. I will say that I think YouTube streaming right now is a lot better than it was when I streamed on here 6 years ago or whatever it was. They have made a lot of improvements, that's for damn sure. But there's still a lot of wiggle room here for more improvements. There's still a lot of room to grow for them. So yeah, just wanted to put all this out there. That's really about it. So yeah. There's nothing more useless nor more pathetic than people who spend their days arguing on Twitter. You could get trapped in a fucking elevator for 24 hours and that'd be a more productive day than someone who spent it arguing on Twitter. If you sat in a puddle of your own vomit with your fingers up your ass, eyes rolled in the back of your skull for 24 hours, that is still a more productive day than the people who argue on Twitter. Twitter arguments are like the mosh pit at a Green Day concert. Yeah, it's fun to look at and laugh at, but no one ever wants to really be in it because it's just sad. There's no point when arguing on Twitter, and especially the people that literally are warriors there that never leave constantly arguing with people. You're never going to change anyone's mind. That's the biggest takeaway. When you're arguing or debating, typically the goal is at least to have someone's perspective change or have someone see another side. You don't have that on Twitter. It's impossible. It never happens. Look at this tweet, because I think this tweet really puts it all in a nutshell. A nice little tight nutsack. This is a representative attitude for the majority of the people that actively use Twitter and fight on it. I've blacked out the names here because I don't want anyone to go harass anyone involved here. But let this serve as a beautiful scientific case study and quick look into the mind of an active Twitter champion. So the opening dialogue comes from our protagonist, a checkmark, a verified Twitter user. Verified on Twitter basically means that the Twitter Illuminati verification group decided to give you the checkmark. They give it out seemingly at random. There's no rhyme or reason for half the people they verify or don't verify. Really, it seems like they give a checkmark out to anyone who's even farted on a website that can even be misconstrued for journalism. It makes no sense, but anyway, the checkmark comes in with a bit of a hot take in movies. I think it's deeply ironic that Scorsese thinks Marvel films are the same movie over and over, when in fact this guy really only makes one movie, let's be honest. Some of them are truly fantastic, don't get me wrong, but come on. Definitely a hot take, but that's not a strange occurrence on Twitter. Twitter's comprised of 50% hot takes and 50% K-pop stans spamming their shit everywhere. So in response, a Scorsese fan comes to defend his honor and makes a good point. He's made like 4 or 5 mob films, but how are Age of Innocence, Hugo, Kundun, Last Temptation of Christ, Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore, After Hours, King of Comedy, Silence, the same movies? That is a very level-headed, very reasonable response, especially considering a majority of the other replies were very aggressive and very rude. This is very level-headed, calm, and opens up a dialogue where she could defend her point. But how does someone respond to valid criticism or even just a valid attempt to get dialogue going? Yeah, sorry, I'm not engaging with disingenuous fanboys who just want to fight. Bye! I mean, you see, what's the point? Why have these arguments on Twitter? Nothing gets solved. This is the exact kind of shit that goes on. Someone makes a good point. Well, fuck you, you're blocked. Bye. I'm better. You know, you didn't have to respond. You could have just ignored it. You didn't have to just give this whole big speech as if you're so holier than thou, like I will not engage in this. I am so far above and beyond it. I am on Mount Olympus. You are in the sewers with Master Splinter and those turtles. This is not worth my time whatsoever. It's that same kind of fucking attitude that happens on Twitch streams. Also, speaking of which, by the time this video goes up, I'll be live on Twitch at twitch.tv/moistcritical. There's no link in the description, just don't be so fucking lazy. Go on Twitch, type in moistcritical, or type in the whole URL. I'm gonna make you fucking work for it, but it'll be worth it. When you get here, I might even be naked, bent over. You never know what to expect. Stream almost daily. What I'm saying, her attitude is like those goddamn virgins on Twitch that'll come into a Twitch stream on a game they don't like just to tell you they don't like that game. Shit happens all the time. Charlie, you know I don't like Counter-Strike. This game fucking sucks, and I fucking hate that you're on it. You know what? I'm never coming over here anymore. You know I don't like this game, and you're playing it, you're streaming it. I'm fucking leaving, Charlie. You know I fucking hate Counter-Strike. I'm out of here. Like, okay, you didn't have to be an asshole. I was gonna make you take an exit survey on why you're leaving. You could have just came in and left. You know, get yourself some of mommy's breast milk and calm the fuck down. I was playing a game I wanted to play, and you came in here and just told me you don't like the game. Why not just leave? Why do you have to be such a douchebag about it? It's the same thing she does here. You could have just not replied to his comment. Even though it made great points, you weren't obligated to make it something aggressive. Could have just let it sit. His comment wasn't aggressive. He made a point to her point, and she couldn't defend it, and I guess she got hurt on like an existential level and came back with a rebuttal that was just so needlessly aggressive and shows that she's not open to changing. That is also the same attitude mirrored from flat earthers that everyone likes to make fun of and use as a punching bag, and rightfully so. They're very goofy. They're very easy to make fun of. But if you watch the Flat Earthers documentary, they literally proved themselves wrong. They proved the Earth is round in their own documentary, and they disregard it. They say, oh, we must have fucked up. Because they refuse to take in something new, no matter what is proven. That's Twitter. Why are you going to spend your days arguing on Twitter trying to change minds of people who are never going to accept it? And they tell you outright they will not accept it. K-pop stans, another one. People always saying, you know, get rid of fan cams. K-pop stans are over. Fan cams fucking suck. Stop it. Should be illegal. They're still going to do it. They're telling you they're still going to do it. So why the fuck are you going to spend your days fighting the K-pop stan army as if you're some type of frontline barricade protecting us from K-pop stans, going on all their shit, telling them to stop? It's not going to work. You're wasting your time. It's just so pathetic, the people that constantly argue on Twitter. I really can't help but feel bad for some of them because I really think they're convinced they're doing a good thing and making a change. But on Twitter, no one changes. Very, very rarely will anyone change a position or even stop to think about another perspective, no matter what people in the comments are saying. And that tweet I showed you is the perfect example of that attitude. And again, you could find that same attitude mirrored in other communities like flat earthers and anti-vaxxers. It's just a fucking waste of time, and I think Twitter arguments are genuinely pathetic. If you find yourself constantly angry on Twitter and arguing with people, find a different hobby, take a step back and realize you're not fucking doing anything with your days when you're spending hours upon hours as a fucking full-time job arguing. You're just wasting your time. And that's the point I want to make. That's about it. See ya. There's one headline that pops up pretty often that I'm sure all of you are used to seeing now. It's like a Stan Lee cameo in the news cycle. TikTok being banned. It's here all the time, like this looming menace. Any day now, TikTok's gonna get banned. The boogeyman will be destroyed. And every single time, it seems nothing happens and nothing changes. But yesterday, there was a pretty sizable development in this whole anime arc, where Congress voted 50-0 about going forward with the TikTok ban, assuming they don't divest. So it's a really interesting situation where I'm still not convinced it's going to be banned because there's just too much money at play here. And I've just seen this song and dance too many times. You can only puff out your chest for so long before it just becomes no longer meaningful. But I'll be honest, there's a little part of me thinking like, damn, they could actually just ban TikTok this time around. It was so bad, in fact, that TikTok themselves sent out like an APB to their users like, hey, we need to get everyone on the horn here to contact your congressman and let them know what TikTok means to you. So TikTok weaponized the airwaves and gave their users all the tools needed to contact their congressman as quickly and efficiently as possible. So they spearheaded fucking Operation Piss Baby, where people started calling these congressmen and complaining, saying about why TikTok shouldn't be banned, this and that. There were allegedly so many calls from so many disgruntled users that they had to shut off their phones because people kept shaking their fist at them. And that does seem pretty significant considering TikTok itself seems to be scared about this new Congress vote. So perhaps there really is a chance that it gets banned, and that would be one of the most shocking things I think I've ever seen with a company of this size. I feel like what's most likely to happen is TikTok eventually will just play ball and divest, and that'll be that. TikTok will persist. It's just so big. It's massive. And it's not just normal, like, average, everyday users, like average Joes. It's businesses now that invest so much money into TikTok. It's all of these corporations now. It has been heavily commercialized, even outside of just people sending goofy dances back and forth. There's so much money wrapped up in it. I just don't see it vanishing. And it's become such a massive marketing tool for so many companies. I would be beyond stunned. But anyway, I went over it on stream, diving into all of the thorough details. So I'm just going to go ahead and play those clips so you can get caught up to speed on why it's looking down the barrel of a potential ban and what's exactly going on with it. Did you see Congress just pass legislation to ban TikTok in the United States? I feel like we get that headline once every 6 months at least. I don't believe it, but I'll take a peek here. This happens all the time. And then eventually it just peters out like, it's okay. TikTok can stay. Members of Congress are being flooded with calls from angry constituents after TikTok launched a new campaign warning its users that the Chinese-owned app was at risk of being shut down in the U.S. Why it matters. A key House committee voted unanimously Thursday afternoon to advance bipartisan legislation that would force ByteDance, TikTok's Chinese parent company, to divest its ownership of the app within 165 days. Didn't they already do this? I thought that was like one of the main stipulations for how it continued to survive. No, they just kept complaining about it. Oh. The highly unusual 50-0 vote in the House of Energy and Commerce Committee, which unveiled the bill 2 days ago alongside the China Select Committee, reflected the level of anger among some members of TikTok's pressure campaign. House Majority Leader Steve Scalise announced Thursday he would bring the critical national security bill to the House floor for a vote next week. The White House has indicated that President Biden would sign the bill, injecting new urgency and aggression into TikTok's campaign to counter the years-long efforts to address the app's national security risks. The flood of calls to congressional offices, which began Wednesday night, was triggered by a notice on TikTok app warning users of a total ban that would damage millions of businesses, destroy the livelihoods of countless creators across the country, and deny artists an audience. After asking users to enter their zip code, TikTok then directed them to call their representative in Congress to let them know what TikTok means to you and tell them to vote no. Oh, that must have been like the worst 24 hours for these geriatrics, getting calls from fucking little Jonathan. Hey, TikTok really means a lot. I go on there and watch all these really cool dances. You know you can buy plutonium online for $50? I did not know that. I don't know what I'd ever do with plutonium, but if I ever need it, now I know it's available. Now it's looks maxing. Yeah. No, it's just only looks maxing. Mewing tutorials at the wazoo. Inhaling toxins. I understood that reference. That's about the chroming, right? An 11-year-old just died from that, and Twitter was dunking on him for being stupid, which is like the most Twitter thing ever, insulting an 11-year-old. Wait, chroming like fucking Mad Max? Yeah, the trend was like you spray your face with I don't even remember what it was now, but they used some kind of aerosol, which obviously has toxins in it, and an 11-year-old apparently passed away from it. And Twitter, like, the comments were just eating the kid alive, insulting his family, insulting the kid, saying natural selection wins again, rest in peace bozo type shit to an 11-year-old. Literally like a fucking 4th grader who just fell victim to the brain rot on TikTok, seeing all these other people doing it, so they do it themselves. Phones are completely bogged down hearing from students, young adults, and business owners who are all concerned at the option of losing their access to the platform, a senior GOP aide told Axios' Julia Grace Brufk. The authors of the bill responded furiously to what they call a massive propaganda campaign, emphasizing that TikTok would not be banned if ByteDance divests its ownership. TikTok is characterizing it as an outright ban, which is of course an outright lie. House China Select Committee Chair Mike Gallagher told reporters, I guess if you got $1 bajillion, you can come up with some crazy public affairs strategy. But it's backfiring as members are livid about the calls and misinformation. So bad we turned phones off, which means we could miss calls from constituents who actually need urgent help with something. I wish TikTok would be shut down. I don't think it's going to happen. I think no matter what, it won't be shut down. Even if ByteDance refuses to divest its ownership, I still don't see it happening. I think it's just too big. There's too much money at play. We should all gritty in front of the Capitol and protest. Yeah, just hit the say so dance out there, bring world peace. Like that Pepsi commercial. There will always be another TikTok replacement. Well, it's called YouTube Shorts. But regardless, I don't see TikTok actually being shut down no matter what. TikTok is banned on federal devices, and Biden administration officials helped with the bill's technical language, but the Biden campaign joined the app last month in an effort to reach young viewers. Wait, you tell me Sleepy Joe's on there busting out some moves? What's the Joe Biden content looking like on that app? Man throwing it in a circle? Fucking seductively licking ice cream at the camera? I'm super curious now. Hold on, let me see his campaign. In a video captioned, lol, hey guys, Biden answered fun Super Bowl related questions, such as game or commercials. And Jason Kelsey or Travis Kelsey. Oh man, he's killing it. Where is it? Oh, wait, this actually is it.
Great quarterbacks, hard to decide. But if I didn't say I was for the Eagles, and I'd be sleeping alone. My wife's a Philly girl.
Game or commercials?
Game.
Game or halftime show?
Game.
Jason Kelsey or Travis Kelsey?
Mama Kelsey. I understand she makes great chocolate chip cookies.
Deviously plotting to
damn that Riz.
So the Chiefs would make the Super Bowl, or the Chiefs just being a good football team?
You'd get in trouble if I told you.
Trump or Biden?
Are you kidding? Biden.
Chiefs or Niners?
Damn, he's killing it. He's doing it. He's fucking doing it. You can't ban TikTok now. Joe Biden's hitting his stride. He's finally going to fulfill his lifelong dream of being a TikTok superstar. It can't be banned now. It's not getting shut down no matter what. Joe ain't got nothing on Hillary. She was dabbing with the best of them. Did she dab? I don't remember that. I remember the Pokemon go to the polls, and I remember... I don't think it was Hillary, but there was some other politician that did like the sexy grind trend, which was an interesting strategy. The White House also briefed around 70 digital content creators and influencers, many who are prominent on TikTok, ahead of Biden's State of the Union speech on Thursday. Multiple polls have found TikTok to be the top source of news for Gen Z and an increasingly popular source for Americans overall. What does this mean? The White House briefed around 70 digital content creators and influencers? What, do they have content creators on staff? They called a State of the Union internally for their 70 content creators on TikTok? Guys, get in here. Big news. DEFCON. We're going to try to meet the American people where they are, White House Press Secretary Karen Jean-Pierre told reporters when asked if the campaign's embrace of TikTok sent a conflicting message. It doesn't mean we're not going to try to figure out how to protect our national security. The bill marks the latest effort in what has become one of Washington's longest-running tech dramas, which began in August 2020 when President Trump ordered ByteDance to sell TikTok. Yeah, I thought that's what happened, too. I thought I remembered reading they did. That effort was held up in court, and for most of the Biden administration, the company's fate in the U.S. has hinged on a long-awaited and still pending decision from the Committee on Foreign Investment in the U.S. Last year, the White House National Security Council threw its support behind the Restrict Act, a different bill aimed at TikTok that has languished in the Senate. Gallagher called on Biden to address the threat posed by TikTok's Chinese ownership in the State of the Union address. It's incumbent upon him to talk about our foremost national security threat, which is Chinese Communist Party, and this is part of that threat. I think the president would be wise to focus squarely on what we can do together, as Republicans, as Democrats, as Americans, to stand up to increasing communist aggression. There was a time when Vine was the biggest. Yeah, but Vine didn't get shut down by the government. It got shut down by the creators.
You're all going to die down here.
Yes. Home sounds nice. Everyone deserves a home. Sounds interesting. Yes. That's a good idea. Oh my. Become a hero? You mean like Boy Man? A boy with all the powers of a man? A whole community of people. Training's not over. Look at all these people training at exclusive workshops. Video chats, holy shit, they're dragging me into the 21st century kicking and screaming. Super tools, goodness me. You mean like the fuck saw? A dildo at the end of a jigsaw, so... What is this? What?
I really like how you snuck this one in there, because you started off with some really objectively good ideas, like crowdsourcing your subtitles and translations, people being able to help each other on the forums and shit, but then you took this nice little donut and you tried to sneak in a diarrhea filling, and you expect people to take a bite and swallow it without noticing. That's like if I started a campaign and I said something like, we're gonna go on picnics, we're gonna watch movies, we're gonna round up all the minorities and gas them, and then we're gonna play some video games, and we're gonna... Wait a minute. What did he just say about... What was that about minorities? Gas them? Wait, that sounds a little fishy. What the fuck?
There's an old French proverb, appetite comes with eating. That's exactly what's going on here. All of us are perpetually eating YouTube's ass that they're feeding us, and we have an insatiable appetite for more ass. And just when you thought YouTube didn't have any more anus to pop in our mouths, they come out with this stupid fucking idea, YouTube Heroes, which is bar none the stupidest name they could have given anything ever. Why not give it a cooler name like Turbo Tubers or U-Turbos, or pretty much anything incorporating the word turbo into the project, because I really like that word and it'd be cool to see it catch on. But regardless of whatever juvenile name they would have chosen for this, it is an inherently abysmal idea, just absolutely terrible in all regards. Yes, subtitling videos, that is something that should be rewarded, that is not bad at all, but the problem is rewarding someone for flagging videos, that's dangerous.
I also really like how you add this air of legitimacy and accountability by just telling us that they will have to earn this perk. You know, they're gonna have to collect points, they're gonna have to prove themselves as good members of our community and shit like that. But of course that's all a distraction from the fact that all you're doing is adding another layer between the YouTuber and YouTube. Anytime any YouTuber has a fucking problem, they are defenseless. They cannot contact YouTube, they cannot get help, and now all this does is give YouTube another excuse. If you complain to YouTube and say, hey, my video got flagged by accident, or you know, it's not supposed to get flagged, it's all fine, they're gonna just tell you, oh, have you talked to your friendly neighborhood YouTube hero yet?
We've all seen how easily abused YouTube's flagging system is right now, and to reward someone for abusing it, that makes no sense. It's like YouTube is hearing these complaints, they're actually hearing them, and are just doing the exact opposite to try and make them worse. Oh, so you don't like them being abused? Let's make it a little easier. How about that, pussies, huh? You like that? We'll flop our cocks right on your chins, and you're not gonna do anything about it because you have nowhere to go.
But of course the funniest part about this is how you act as though this was some sort of new and revolutionary technology or idea that's really gonna shift the tides of war against these mean cyber bullies and their hate speech, when in reality this is just the same old shit. This is exactly what YouTubers have been bitching about for years now, because this is the same power every copyright holder is wielding already. Companies like Disney go on YouTube and they flag thousands upon thousands of videos on an automated system, and now you think that it's a good idea to take that power of mass destruction and give it to fucking some dork douchebag who's going to just implement his own subjective ideas of morality and ethics. Great, so we've been getting skull-fucked by copyright holders all these years, and YouTube's idea is to turn it into a spit roast. Awesome.
So you reward them for flagging these videos and then give them the option to mass flag videos? What's to stop a YouTube hero from targeting someone they don't like, mass flagging all their videos and getting their account taken down? Yeah, a bigger channel will come back eventually once they get it sorted out with the network, but a smaller channel is gone completely. They're not coming back because they don't have a network to support them or fight for them. So if a YouTube hero saw my grandmother making Minecraft Let's Plays and just didn't like the way she handled her Let's Playing career, they could take her ass down, and then I'd have to console my crying grandmother who doesn't understand why she can no longer make Minecraft videos and tell her, look, Grandma, I'm sorry, your shit just got blasted by a hero.
And of course we understand that you have limited resources, but you cannot just take certain members of a community, give them special perks and tell them that they now have the ability to exercise their power on the rest of the community. That simply doesn't work, and it goes downhill every single time. Has no one at YouTube read the fucking Stanford prison experiment? It doesn't end well.
You don't need me to go any further explaining how easily abused this is or how bad for the website overall this system is. But let's say I want to take advantage of this. I want some better fucking rewards than just being able to talk to the YouTube losers and being able to beta test their stupid ideas next. Why would I care to try out whatever their next awful idea is? The fucking YouTube whiffer, where I can smell YouTube videos? That doesn't get me excited to take advantage of your system. If I'm going to be taking down innocent YouTube videos, I want a better reward for it. When I take shit down, I want it to say, your shit got fucked by Charlie, then I want a picture of Brendan Fraser, and then I want to be able to have a catchphrase or a slogan for every video I take down. Something really corny, some real 80s action movie shit. Something like,
the YouTube streets are dirty, I'm the cleaner.
Or,
you know what you are, what you're made of. War's in your blood. Don't fight it. You didn't flag for your country, you flagged for yourself. The gods are never gonna make that go away. When you're pushed, flagging's as easy as breathing.
Or,
the accumulated filth of all their toy unboxing videos and drama reports will foam up about their waists, and all the clickbaiters and all the view whores will look up and shout, save us! And I'll whisper, video flagged.
You know, just something that makes me feel like a badass, because as a YouTube hero, I want to feel badass. If I'm going to pursue a career as a full-time YouTube hero, I want some good rewards for it. I'm not getting paid for wasting my time, so I might as well at least look cool while doing so.
But hey, far be it from us to try and give YouTube any tips, because if the past is any indication, YouTube will again just take every fucking piece of feedback and criticism and label it as trolling and tell us to go fuck ourselves and still implement this idea, just like they did with all the rest of their stupid ideas, just like Google+, just like YouTube Red, YouTube Gaming, and of course the automated subtitles, which for 10 years have not been improved and have been little more than a fucking running gag, a gimmick. And I assume that this initiative at this point is meant to replace it, but like I said, I don't want a diarrhea donut. Thank you.
No. I don't know why so many people think I'm going to TwitchCon this year. I've been inundated with emails asking me if I'm going. I'm not going to TwitchCon. I don't stream on Twitch. I don't use Twitch. I don't even like Twitch. I don't like the way it's run as a company. I don't like the favoritism and the selective enforcement of their rules. I don't have any respect for the micro-dicked mod team over there. I don't use it as a campsite. I just watch porn like any civilized 21st century man would do. I'm not a fucking caveman who needs strip teases and softcore porn on Twitch. I don't use it as background noise. I'd rather listen to a 10-hour compilation of people farting into their microphone than listen to half the streamers over there. I just really don't like Twitch. I don't know why so many people think I was going. The thought never even crossed my mind. I don't know when TwitchCon is, but I'm guessing it's just around the corner based on how many emails I'm getting asking if I'm going. I'm not. I don't know who's perpetuated this rumor that I'll be attending. Maybe it's Twitch themselves. Hey guys, look, this guy's going. This guy's not going. I've never been to a single convention, let alone going to one that I don't even like. It'd be like if Alexander Graham Bell went to a Minecraft convention. It just wouldn't make any sense. The mathematics don't add up. And yes, I am comparing myself to Alexander Graham Bell. He invented some useless shit, whereas I invented coconut kalimba art, baby. Brace for Teriyaki Boys theme. You're welcome for the free concert. Yeah, I won't be attending TwitchCon this year, though. I make it no secret that I'm not a huge fan of Twitch, or really any fan of Twitch. Not even a man who would hear the name Twitch and be like, well, maybe. There's no maybe. I don't like Twitch. I really don't. Not in its current form. I don't know if people are asking me as a joke, knowing I'm not a fan of Twitch and I don't use the platform. You know, like, oh, ho, ho, are you going to TwitchCon? Oh, ho, ho, nope. I'm not going to TwitchCon. I do not like Twitch with a vest. I do not like Twitch with a nest. I do not like Twitch eggs and breast. I wouldn't even go there as a joke. I wouldn't go there just to use their shitters if I had to pee-pee really bad because I've been holding it in for 3 hours. I'd rather just let my urethra explode. Now, if you do like Twitch, I don't hate you for it. I don't think you have bad taste either. And I think you might have a lot of fun at TwitchCon. I don't know exactly what goes on there besides cheating on your wife, but I think you would probably have a good time if you're a fan of the platform. I'm not. Thus, I probably wouldn't have a good time. And I don't even use the platform, so I don't know why the fuck I would even go. But, I mean, another thing that would prevent me from going, I'm terrified of flying. I'm really afraid of flying. I would have a hard time getting on a plane to save my grandmother if she got kidnapped by King Cobra and taken to Michigan. That's only a 2-hour flight from here. You really think I'd even toy with the notion of getting on a plane for butt-fucking useless TwitchCon? Get out of town. But yeah, you know, I hope I've cleared up the confusion that's been plaguing the internet the last couple of days on whether or not I'll be attending TwitchCon. No, I will not be.